and welcome to another day of TA the Degen way. Well, here we are on our Trading View Ideas page, and we are looking at this forecast for Solana from April 20th of 2023. That's a year and a quarter ago. I've been using this time cycle for quite a while. I don't rely on any of this stuff with any real certainty, but for some reason we always seem to get some type of significant change following this rate of change. Here, gotta adjust our circle here so it fits in the square, and what we're looking at is where these points in time meet with this rate of change. So like here, 1023, we got this breakout. Here, we came down. Here was our bottom. Right here was pretty much right where we bottomed there. Right here is pretty much, this top. And right here, we're pretty much right, at that big point in change there also. And if we keep moving along here, we've got our top on 320.24, pretty much to the week. Our next point here is 711.24. Got this nice rise up. And our next date here is 10/14/24 and 12/16. And whether or not we actually hit $1,000 into these time frames has nothing to do with it. This is just showing this rate of change. And if we look at our price levels and our reoccurring ranges here, these have been pretty darn well respected. We didn't make it up to no $295, and that's for sure. But we did make it to 200. We did do a 25x. That is pretty good. So what I want to look at today is I want to do an update on Solana. And what should we be looking at right here? We'll look at some of these other proportional relationships, and we are going to build ourselves a chart. Well, so what do we want to look at here? Build us a little chart. We already looked at our April 20th, 2023 forecast, 1.25 years later. And the first thing I want to look at is our macro time cycle. We're going to do some Gann analysis. We can get our retrace tool out and look at our percentage changes in from our swing low of $8 to our swing high of about 210. And let's look for our confluence for that pie in the sky potential $1,000 target from our Wheel of Fortune. So let's jump into the chart here. And we were looking, for a bottom in this time period. If you can see, I've been riding with Solana for quite a long time. Short, 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 long, 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 very long, And let's see, let's look at a couple things. So here was our swing low at $8. So, well, first let's look at our time cycle. So here is our swing high. And let's look at about how long it took to actually break trend. There's no exact science here. I'll just draw our trend line here. Alright, right about there is close enough. So now we're just going to grab a time cycle tool. I got the fib time zone tool, but I've changed it so it just goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't care about the fib spacings. These seem to last about three, maybe 3.5 of these, and then they kind of lose their luster because we're taking this amount of time, and you can see about halfway through, we've pretty much put in a top, 25%, be right at, kind of right about that top, and 75% is probably right about there somewhere. So let's look at our price actions. We got our time cycle up here. We have this nice curvature on these highs. So, this is kind of coming out at about December, just like the rest of a lot of other crypto things in the momentum I see. If we look at our oscillator down here, that lines up quite nice, their time cycle, December leading into February. Our Wheel of Fortune gives us October 14th, so I don't know if we, come on down and push on up and then come on down, or maybe we get one nice big wick on down. But what should we be looking at for downside? So I said Gann analysis. Here we're looking at proportional time cycles. Let's grab our Gann box once. Let's start right at our swing low, and let's just look for proportional relationships. We already see one in the price. There's a nice proportional relationship between these two highs. Not much right there. Let's go with the end of our time cycle here. Let's offset it just a little bit. So right here, we're kind of right at about this breakout. We're right at this high. We're right at our top. And time-wise, this comes out right in December. Kind of like our momentum curve. And look at how proportional this price action is. This is percentage-wise. Now, I'm looking at a log scale. I care about the change in percentage of value and the proportional relationships in between, like your average range and duplicates of the range and whatnot. So if let's turn logarithmic off for just a second. So if you were looking at your Gann box here, this is showing you this proportional relationship in price. Very, very proportional. And time-wise is coming out right at about December. And that gives you a little time to accumulate and maybe take off. Our trend time is giving us the end of February into March, and this is a range. So look at our trend line here when we're not on a logarithmic scale. Notice the difference. I'm tracking the trend in the change in percentage of value, rather than the change in dollar, because there's a big difference by going up by $1 from, let's say, $1 to $2. That's 100%. $100 to $101 is nothing. So what else would Gann look at? He viewed the market in eighths, or what I call an octave scale. So he would have taken the swing low of about $8 and this swing high of about $2.60, I think it was, And let's look at our price levels in eighths. So if we're looking for a downtrend and we're looking at these proportional relationships, and let's say that we're planning on wicking down in October here, or bottoming out in December, what kind of price levels should we be looking at? Look at how nice and well these 1/8 increments fit in. Now what I've done is, this is actually the Fibonacci retrace tool, and I've gone in and Just going to double click and go to the settings. You can see I've changed these to 0.125, 0.25, 0.375. These are 1/8 increments all the way up to 1. That gives us 8 equal levels, regardless of where we stretch that to, and then I just save it as a template, 1/8. But let's look at these levels. So we need our top at about 260 there. 250, close enough. You don't want to be off too much. Our low is at about $8. You know, look at these well-respected levels. Look at these highs. That's our resistance. That's our support. Here it's our support. But I mean, since this low, resistance. Here it's not quite support, but here it's definitely resistance. I mean, pretty much to the dollar. Here it's resistance. Here it's not quite support, didn't make it all the way back down there. Here it's definitely support to the dollar pretty much. Resistance, we're up and beyond it, but notice how we're about exactly halfway in between. So when we're looking at price levels coming down, if we consider 1/8 increments here, you know, we got 109, 71, our Wheel of Fortune. Gives us this price level of $85. $100 would be a significant psychological level. Now let's take our 1/8 increments. What's our high over here? I believe it's about 210. Yeah. So let's consider just our wave up here. Let's set our high at 210, our low at $8. So I mean, here we got $92 coming in right there. So what else can we look at? Let's actually let's take our this is the Fib retrace tool. I just got it on the short list there. So Fib retrace. Let's go from our. And that's just the tool. I mean, Fibonacci, whatever, you know. I'm not saying it doesn't have any bearing, because I mean it does. It's equal proportional relationships that you know, tend to occur. Here's your main zone. If you look at this in 1/3 relationships, you know, 50% would be reality. You know, anything above 0.625 and anything, you know, would be considered overbought. Anything below here would be considered oversold. But we are in a crypto uptrend, I would imagine, you know, unless we're all over with and the circus is over, which, you know, I don't think there's any way to know that until that actually happens. So until then, we will assume that we will continue on. So let's change this and let's look at our Fibonacci levels. So here, I mean, I've got our regular levels. I've turned a bunch of them off. Let's just focus on our 382 and our 618, and being them on a log scale, I've changed this, or I've selected it to Fib levels are based on a log scale. So we're getting these are percentage changes in value. This is 61. We want the numbers going down. What are we looking at? Our swing low is $8. Or what are we doing here? We need to reverse. Our swing high is $210. So this went up by 25x. How much of this, what percentage of this move from here to here are we giving back? If we come down to this 382, that would be 38.2% of this entire move. And that comes out at $60. So let's, you know, and anything above there I would say is extremely bullish. If we throw our 236 on, that's coming out at $97. Here's our support range right there, you know. So I mean, $85 on our Wheel of Fortune, $60 on the 382.97. We got the $100 psychological level. When we're following, let's follow this curvature down. We got a bunch of levels down here now. You know, I mean, this 236, I mean, this, hopefully we get higher than that, but I mean, that 95 to, you know, $105 range is kind of what I am looking at myself right there. And what else can we look at for significant levels? Let's grab our fixed range volume profile tool, and let's just take all of this volume from right here to right here. Here's our value area high coming out at about $90. Let's check our volume just from swing low to swing high. Obviously about the same. I mean, it's just giving us where all this volume is. Let's look at, since we've traded in that range of 85 to $95, 75 to 100, well, 75 to 210, really. So, I mean, we're pretty much at our value area low right now, locally. And the only thing that we haven't really looked at price level wise is our average range sizes. You know, what average repeating ranges can we see here? You know, here's a nice range. Here's a nice range. Even this 50% of this is a nice range. So let's grab our rectangle tool here once, and let's just grab just this. Let's grab this range once. We'll go swing high to swing low. And how many percent is that? It's a decline of about 65%. I mean, right here. Here we're about half. You know, it's these proportional relationships. Here we went up that amount. You know, this is the big difference between long and short. 65% down is about 200 up. You know, big difference. So if we were to come down that same volume, we would be looking at about $75. And I'm not saying that's what we're looking at, but you can see we've came down about half of that amount. You know, how much decline have we had percent-wise? Must be in the 30s. So let's go 210. So we have had about 45% on that wick. Double that will get us down to that 382. You know, I mean, that $85 on the Wheel of Fortune, man, you know, I mean, that thing's been running for quite a while. Quite a while there. Since, you know, I mean, you can see just taking this first range, just diminishing and repeating back out. This is essentially just a book match of the left side here. I mean, that is really all that is. Never pressed the play button. Well, yeah, I did. I did the first time. So if you come to this chart on our Trading View Ideas page, there is a link in the description. You'll have to search. It's probably on page 10, 15, whatever it is. you have to adjust the aspect here. That's why I put the square there, to get the circle to fit in there. So it's where these angles are crossing the circle. It's not some funny weird thing, it's just a relationship between, it's just a measurement of this rate of change. And you know, there's also a link in that description for a free Discord. I don't really have much else to look at on Solana besides, you know, maybe this $85 to $105 range. I mean, it's kind of a big range there. I like the $95 to $105 range, but I have a feeling that, you know, I mean, maybe we come on up to about right where we're at right now. Maybe we come down here, come back up, and continue down, you know. That is the unknowable, unanswerable question, but you can see our average size, well, average size range on our way up here was right there. Well, I took it from the way up, but we also have this old big giant range here. Well, let's look at our first Genesis range here. I wonder if that's the same. I wonder if this is our 65 down, 200 up. Sure is. So, you know, that's what I got on Solana. I mean, for me, well, what about a price target? We never talked about a price target. Well, let's take our range here of 260, and I was about to dip out there. So what am I looking at for a pullback? You know, I mean, the Wheel of Fortune's got October 14th. I don't know what that's for. I mean, I never really do. You know, it's just a significant point in time. But it also has a price level of $85. You know, so I mean, I'll be looking for that $85. Why not? 382 is at 70. 100 is psychological level. We just got to watch the price action as we come down. You know, December. I mean, this year, you know, I mean, October through December, this last quarter. I mean, December is where a lot of these momentum curves kind of come out in the crypto market. You know, maybe we bust on out of here, you know, but what am I looking at for a target of $1,000 for? Well, we've already done a 25x. Let's say we pull back to $100. I mean, we pretty much already did. I mean, what did we come down to? 125? I mean, that's about what it looks like. Yeah, about $125. You know, so let's say we come down to $100. You know, and we find good solid support. We range here for a while. You know, even if we just take, let's say that this is half of the range that we've made right here, which is what it is if we take, you know, this chunk over here, this 60% down, 65% down, 200% up. Let's say this is about half of it. Blech. I mean, man, I'm kind of riding on that one. You know, this 65% average true range, I think, belongs on this chart. And I will be posting this chart on TradingView. And doing a little write-up what I'm looking for. I will be looking for this pullback to the, you know, I'm gonna shoot for $85, I think. But I will be watching the price action on the way down. This comes out right at about $85, man. And the Wheel of Fortune, she has been riding for quite a long time, right on the money. I mean, I don't have the wicks on here, but I mean, this thing has been pretty darn close. This is just daily close prices. So I'm going to target a pullback to $85, but watching the price action. And for a upside target, let's take our average true range here, and let's paste that in some random spots on the chart. And this is a chart that we are building for TradingView. We will get to that $1,000 long target in just a second. One, it's on the Wheel of Fortune. That is a proportional relationship. This is showing proportional relationships in time and price based off of the past. You know, I keep closing it and reopening it, but this thing has done very, very well. You know, here is these ranges. So we're just duplicating these. This $1,000 target, we'll see in a minute, is really just a 1.5 expansion of our 200 to, basically $80 to $200 range. And let's see here. So here's our average true range. Let's go Control C. Let's go 200 plus 60, 65 to the negative. And now let's go for our upside target. So we're going to take this fib scale. Right now it's set from our 260 high to our $8 low. And let's reverse this. Let's see, reverse. So we want our numbers going up. And let's shed some of this here. And I want to highlight this 1.618, 1.5 area. And let's take our current range, because what we're projecting is, we put in a lower high, we get a serious pullback. So let's throw this up here. So now our 61.8 is really just our 38.2 in reverse, coming out at whatever that is. So here our high is about 210. So let's go to our coordinates here. Let's go 210 and $8 for our low. And let's expand this range. So we're going to say that, we've made this big push up. Look at our momentum curved over. See time and price per square. We lost. We got 1, 2, 3. Now number 4. After 4 tops, look at 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. Big move down. And if you look at this over here, we spent about an equal amount of time. This is one range. Here's the middle of the range. We spent about an equal amount of time on one side as we did on the other. Let's look dead smack at the center of that range, and you will see time-wise, this thing is as proportional as they get. So if we consider the same here, look at how nicely that lines up. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but these proportional relationships, TA works because there's proportional relationships. You have no idea which one's going to play out, and anybody that says that they do is just retarded, unfortunately. But like playing a game of chess, there's only so many proportional moves on the board, and really trading is just a matter of following the herd. And there's only so many things that the herd is looking at. And if you think about the herd in different groups, you got people looking at fib retraces, you got people looking at the price, you got people looking at the volume, you got people looking at trend lines. Let's slap our trend line on here. And all these come with different volumes of traders, and you have people looking at percentages, and you got people looking at your average ranges, and you just have the general public, which really they're not the ones who push the market up. They're the ones who get sold into and provide all this liquidity. The largest portion of them anyways, they're getting in as that momentum is building. So look at our trend line here. Let's say we come on down to our trend line here. I bet that's that's some correlation there. One thing I want to look at is I want to look at 75% of our time cycle. Let's grab our Gann box here once and just start it right here to right here, and I want to throw on 75%. Here's our 786. That's close enough. Oh, that was price level. We need the time one. 786. There we go. Right on the money, you know. And look at our upward target. We expand this range from $210 to $8. Our current range, we're projecting this nice big pullback with an expansion of that range by 1.5. So after the bank man dumped us down to $8, which, you know, probably would have happened anyways. It was a perfect retrace to this low, you know. This was real support for Solana. So after a major sell-off, months of distribution to the public, reaccumulation around $100, is a 10x so unreasonable? I don't think so. $1,000, you know, but circus could be over. Gotta watch the price action. But like I was saying, trading is a matter of following the herd. You know, what is this group of the herd looking to get in? What is this group of the herd looking at to get in? What is this group looking at? And when all of them are satisfied, all of the herd is traveling in the same direction. And when all of the herd is traveling in the same direction, you get motion. Like we're probably all about to travel in this direction. Get some motion. Look at this momentum curving down. So, hey, that's all I got for us. If you like this content, like, share, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Join our free Discord where I'm posting my thoughts and ideas regularly. And until next time, you know, trade well.